Hey everybody, welcome back to another news roundup. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Excuse me if you hear some purring in the back. That's just Milo, just sleeping. And this week is going to be relatively short because there wasn't a whole lot of news, but there were three very interesting stories that came out that otherwise I would save for another video because I'd like to do have more topics to discuss rather than just three central ones. But these three are rather interesting, and I think they all coincide to some extent in regards to their financial investments. So I think they're interesting stuff to talk about. So we're just gonna have this one be short and sweet, hopefully. And yeah, so let's just cut this intro short and let's just dive right on in. So, of course, coming off the weekend, we just had the release of Bong Joon-ho's latest feature, Mickey 17. I will be doing a review for it probably after this video is released. So this video will be put out on Tuesday. And after that, we'll have the review for Mickey 17. So look out for my thoughts then. I've yet to see it of this recording. I'll be seeing it on Tuesday night, so that's why you'll be seeing the review after this video gets posted. But it appears that a lot of you guys have not seen the movie either, because according to the box office, it's not done all that great. It's basically bombed, collecting so far a global debut of $53.3 million. And getting into some variables here, production costs were at least $118 million. We've also found out that the marketing expenses were at least $80 million. And supposedly, according to Deadline, who have since removed this information, and I actually have thankfully taken a photo so you guys can see that I'm not just making stuff up. Apparently, the reshoots were at least an additional $10 million. Now, according to Variety, the studio, Warner Brothers, they're saying that the film has to do at least $275 million to $300 million in order to be considered profitable. Now, when you put all these numbers together, all those varying numbers that I just mentioned, as we go to my Google Docs, I just put this all together. So you have a budget of $118 million. You have reshoots that apparently were $10 million, if we're to believe Deadline's report. We have marketing expenses that were at least $80 million. So as a general investment, when you put that all together, you have a total investment of $208 million. And the actual break-even point, which on my scale, when it's a triple digit, you have to do triple the amount. So with that, you have a break-even point of actually $624 million. Now, there are, so if you exclude the $10 million, you're looking at still around $500 million that this has to do. So for the studio to say that the film has to do at least $300 million, I think that those margins are pretty low. And I think that the studio knows that as well. I think that they're more willing to settle for bare minimum at this point rather than being realistic. And I think that that's just ultimately what those numbers are suggesting. I don't think it's an illustration of, covering all the expenses. I think it's just squarely focusing on the production cost. Actually, I'm curious. Let me just see what they're looking at in terms of a quote unquote success story. So let's break out the calculator here for a second. Let's see what we got here. So if it's 118 times that by 2.5, yep. So they're looking around a 2.5 ratio for this, squarely on the production cost. So not including the marketing, not including the reshoots. They're just talking squarely about the production cost. So yeah, so this is failing, and it's not a great thing to say, but it was essentially doomed from the start. So I mean, outside of the promotion, which was very lackluster in my opinion, a lot of the trailers just I watched the one trailer and I was just like, that's okay. I mean, I'm still gonna see it because I'm curious of Bong Joon Ho's, being at the helm of it. But as far as just reception has gone for the trailers, it's not been too strong. And beyond that, it's just hard to generate interest. If we're talking to a mainstream audience, it's very hard to generate interest for original material. They crave familiar IPs and brands in order to show up to the theater. Now, they'll probably say that they want more original content over things like superheroes, for instance, but the fact is that the general consumer isn't willing to spend $20 or more on a movie ticket to see something unheard of. That's just not for them. With that, they seek things that are familiar, the Marvel movies, the Star Wars things. And I don't want to hear it just because those are the most marketable things or the things that are the most out there. People are just not doing the work. They're not seeking out, the smaller stuff. They're not going to the mom and pop shops and all that stuff. So instead, they're just awaiting for, it's like as Martin Scorsese said many years ago, it's like a roller coaster ride. It's like a theme park attraction. You don't go to when you first show up to the amusement park, you're not going to go on the little intriguing experimental type of ride. You're going to go on those big fancy roller coasters because that's just where all the fun's at, at least according to the people who, according to the masses, So it's the same sentiment here where people want to go on a roller coaster ride. They don't want to go on the merry-go-round. They want to go on a roller coaster, so... And in the case of Mickey 17, we're looking at more of a merry-go-round, And with that and the unfortunate budget that's been collected from the reshoots and the delays, sorry, I hit my mic. The budget that's been collected from, reshoots, delays, it was just never going to be a big draw. So it's bombing now, but I think it always appears to have been going that way. I don't think it ever was going to take off. And it's just, unfortunate. I knew way back then, when the first trailer came out, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be one of those hot films that come out. So, yeah. So I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. And, based on just... I'm surprised the marketing cost was at least $80 million because I do not recall much marketing. Maybe marketing overseas, but definitely not here. But yeah, not surprised at all. Really not that surprised. So. All right, going from one company to the next, let's talk about Disney for a second. So, of course, their Snow White adaptation is on the way. Got a couple of weeks out from now, like 2 weeks. I don't know if I'll be seeing it or not. My brother is eager to see it, so I might be dragged to see it. I really don't know. I just personally don't care for the product, but I mean, we'll see. But I know those who haven't seen it is people in London because according to the Daily Mail, who usually are reputable when it comes to some stories. Apparently, Disney has decided to cancel the premiere for Snow White that was going to be held in London. Now, there's no word on the status of the other planned premieres, like the LA premiere and stuff like that. Those are probably going to move forward. But inside sources suggest that the reasoning behind this cancellation is anticipation of, quote, anti-woke backlash, leading to a reportedly selective group of venues and a Pacific Press questions given to Rachel Ziegler, because there's a lot of criticism that's been made towards her and just generally with the production. We've covered the history of the production from the dwarfs to Ziegler's comments. Here's my thing. So if they're worried of any potential violent occurrences, I completely understand to reconsider things. However, The issue appears to be aimed at the press. They seem to be paranoid over the kind of questions that will be asked to the cast, which is what started a lot of this controversy many years ago, which was specific comments made by the actors. In that case, I think it's pretty pathetic. I think, at this point, people have already made up their minds. I mean, just look at the projections for the film, they're extremely low. Um, and I don't think that limiting appearances for the cast and the crew is going to do you any favors. Because by all that, you're just making it so the film is destined to fail. And I think that we all knew the film was not going to do well regardless because of just how much of the, just some of the online chatter that's been taking place. And I think just honestly, even if that wasn't the case, and people seemed fair with it, I don't think that it was going to do great. Especially when you think about the budget that's attached to this thing. It's almost a $300 million investment just by production alone, and they're having a heavy promotional um, expenses with it. I've been seeing the trailer play nonstop on YouTube, so they're pushing it pretty hard. So there's probably an additional 100 million, so it's getting crazy in terms of an investment. Close to a $400 million investment if my calculations are correct. So yeah, the writing's on the wall. Everyone knows it. I think Disney themselves even know it themselves. They'll say the anti-woke backlash, all that stuff, but I think the greater reason for it is that they just don't have much faith in the film. I just don't think they have much faith in the movie that they have now, and I doubt that the premieres elsewhere are going to be marketed heavily. They're going to use this as an excuse, but really, I think it's because that they have a product that's just not up to snuff. They know they're not going to get big turnouts for this, so why push more money onto something that clearly is not going to make its money back? So again, unfortunate. I think it's really unfortunate the backlash that was with Rachel Ziegler. Like I said, I think that it's pretty pathetic, how people have pitted her in this whole situation. Yes, she made some comments politically that people like myself probably will take issue with, but in reflection of how that is to the movie, I just don't think that it's as substantial, and I think people are blowing it out of proportions. But yeah, it's definitely not looking good for Disney either. Definitely not looking good. So. And last but not least, let's talk about Netflix. So Netflix, this story actually kind of got creeped in, according to an article from Deadline, when they were talking about the box office for Mickey 17. Apparently, they let it slip that Netflix will reportedly not be reporting any numbers for their upcoming release in The Electric State, the new Russo brothers feature that's coming out with Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown. According to that article, they are not looking to disclose any numbers at all, and they have a production cost that has grown to an enormous $320 million. So here's the consistent thing with all these stories that I have mentioned here. All these movies are carrying massive budgets attached to them. Mickey 17 with 118 million, Snow White with almost 200 plus million for its production, and now we have The Electric State at an enormous $320 million. Keep in mind, this is almost the same cost that Avengers Endgame had. That's how much money has been poured into The Electric State. A film, mind you, that I have not heard too many great things about online. And the trailer was pretty whatever. So once you register the cost of this film, you can completely understand why they have no interest in releasing numbers. It's going to flop hard. On one level, we've already talked. This has been proven, through the pandemic. On one level, streaming has proven that gigantic productions such as this aren't financially suitable to house on a streaming platform. We saw this with the HBO Max situation, with all their films being dumped onto that streaming service that one year. And a lot of them did not do well because of just the limitations that streaming provides when it comes to these enormous productions. You limit the amount of money that the movie can actually genuinely make versus going to the theater, where they have a lot more. There's a lot more space within the amount of money that they generate. Streaming is a lot more limiting in its respect. And for another reason, who's going to watch this? I mean, I don't think many really care. I think Netflix sees that too, which is why they're not going to give you any numbers. This is, mind you, general practice. I mean, it's not surprising hearing a streaming service not releasing numbers of their products, mainly because a lot of them flop hard and they don't want to report those numbers because it looks bad to their service. It's looks bad towards their investors. It doesn't bode well for them as a company, so you may as well just not say anything. So it's not surprising, but it's just like, oh, okay, so you guys really just don't have faith in this really at all. And you'd think that they would press it hard because of just how much the investment is, the kind of cast that they have attached to it, the directors. You would think that they would, put some kind of effort behind marketing the film. And I doubt that they're really going to. If they're not going to report any numbers, why would you think that they're going to even have market the film at all? The film comes out this month. Have you seen any marketing for the film outside of a few trailers? Like, not really. And once you hear that production cost, which again, $320 million, you can understand why. Because it's getting out of control in terms of an investment. So, yeah. They're basically just throwing in the towel and calling it a day. And given the state of the electric state, I wouldn't put much hope on it doing any kind of business outside of damages for this company. So, and Netflix knows it too, with saying that they're not going to say anything. So, but yeah. Those are the stories for this week, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I guess the lesson within these 3 stories is companies start managing your budgets a lot better, because these are the results. These are just the results of that. So, but that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on Mickey 17. If you guys have actually seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Your thoughts regarding Snow White, its upcoming release. And if you're interested in the electric state at all. I haven't seen a lot of reception for it or a lot of interest for it, but let me know if you're interested. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.